You know it's an important day if my tie's done up. Well, first off, as I always do, I want to thank you for assembling on short notice. We always seem to drag you people into stuff with very little notice, and you always come, and we appreciate that. To start, I would like to thank the Phoenix Coyotes for their outstanding professionalism through this process, particularly General Manager Don Maloney. They have been first class from start to finish. It's a big day for the Calgary Flames today. I'm pleased to announce our General Manager, Brad Treliving, but I want to say a few words about him before that. Brad has learned at the knee of a general manager for whom I have great respect, Don Maloney. He has been directly and actively involved in every facet of the general manager's job. Farm team, amateur scouting, pro scouting, involved in all the trades, every single aspect of it, entry draft, trade, salary cap, college free agents, junior free agents, every single aspect of it. He has a keen mind and he has a reputation as an extremely hard worker. And our management structure, I guess, was designed for continuity and stability and for the ability to bring in a general manager that didn't have a lot of experience but has a great background. And it's my job shifting today to provide Brad with whatever guidance and leadership I can. But make no mistake about it, folks, Brad is the general manager of this team, effective right now. And Brad is also the only candidate we interviewed. I think it's very important that people understand that. I think it speaks volumes for what we think of Brad as a general manager. So, ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the general manager of the Calgary Flames, Brad Treliving. Oh, I thought you wanted me over this side. Okay.
Well, thanks, Berkey. And to reiterate Berkey's comments, I appreciate everybody coming out. Just before we get going here with Calgary, I think it's important, whoever you are, wherever you are, to sort of remember where you came from. And I first want to reiterate what Berkey said in terms of thanking Phoenix. I've had 7 years, just finished 7 years, of a wonderful, wonderful experience in Phoenix. I know a lot of people up here outside the Phoenix market over the last few years. There's been a lot of stories written. It was a great experience there because of the people there. And I want to thank our ownership led by George Gosby, Anthony LeBlanc, for giving me the opportunity to pursue this opportunity here. As Brian said, I've had the opportunity to work with not only a great general manager, but has been a great friend, great mentor, and Don Maloney. I thank him. Dave Tippett, our entire coaching staff, training staff. As I said, the people there made it special. The players, and specifically Shane Doan. I'm here today because of that group there in Phoenix, so thank you to all them. Now to Calgary. I've seen lots of press conferences of people coming up here, and they all speak about how excited they are. I wanted to have some authenticity. The more I thought about it, there really wasn't anything authentic I could say other than I'm just thrilled. I'm thrilled to be here. I want to thank the Flames ownership group led by Murray Edwards. This ownership group outside of Calgary around the league is revered, it's respected, and it's an honor to come and work for them. Ken King, thank you for your trust in giving me this opportunity. And obviously Brian. I'm going to speak a little bit more about Brian, but he is the single most significant factor for me being here today. And I look forward to working with Brian. Finally, with the thank yous, I do want to say a special thank you to Gary Bettman and Bill Daly. Obviously, in our time in Phoenix, we had a close working relationship while the team was under the league's guidance. And I really thank them for their leadership and mentorship over the years. Moving to Calgary, our family is ecstatic. In a lot of ways, I look at this as a homecoming. I'm a proud Western Canadian. Coming in yesterday, seeing the Rocky Mountains, and I appreciate Brian and Ken's hospitality. You got rid of the snow on the ground here for a guy that's had his blood thinning in the desert for the last few years. So we're excited to be here. My family, I do want to recognize them. They're not here today. Julie, my wife, Ryan and Reese, my two daughters. They're extremely excited to to get north and get started in Calgary. I'm ready for this. I know I'm ready for this. I know that the challenges that we have here ahead of us as a team, and we do have challenges. I know the expectations of this market. I know the expectations of this fan base. And I want you to know I'm prepared for this and I'm ready for this challenge. You know, I mentioned Brian a little earlier, and Brian spoke to the management structure here. I think this is a great opportunity, specifically for me, but for any young general manager coming into this job. As Brian said, I had a great opportunity with Don Maloney. I was involved in everything. I was as close to that captain's chair as you could probably be, being a number 2 guy, but I'm not naive enough to know that there is a difference. There's a difference from the first chair to the second chair. And to be able to work for Brian, alongside Brian, pull those years of experience, the success he's had, having a sounding board, and really working with all of the Flames staff here. There's a lot of good people in this organization. There's a lot of good people, and I look forward to meeting the ones I don't know and working with the ones, and working with all of them. Just a little bit about the team. And I firmly believe that, you know, I've watched this team as I've watched all the other 29 teams. Until you get behind the curtain and really dig in, I don't think you know a team. I mean, I know the players and I've got opinions on players, but until you dig in, you don't know this team. One thing that stood out for me, I watched with a great deal of respect, as I think a lot of the hockey world did, of how this team competed this year. To me, this team had a will. It had an identity. And to me, that is solely due to the job the coaching staff did, led by Bob Hartley. Bob will, as Brian has mentioned earlier, Bob will be the coach of this team. I do not know Bob. I spoke with him briefly today. We had a good chat. One of the priorities for me is getting together with Bob in the very near future, but I can't say how much I was really respected. And one of the hardest things to build and to, as a building block, is getting an identity, getting a will, getting the look of a team. And this team has that look. So I really credit the coaches for that. As I said, we got a lot of work to do. I know there was a really good feel to the end of this season. And I think there's some building blocks here. I think there's been some foundational things put in place. But the reality is, in June, we're going to be picking 4th at the draft. We have work to do. We have to get better. We have to improve. For what's next here, the next step for me, obviously, is I want to spend the next couple days here meeting with everybody, introducing myself to everybody. The process for hiring an assistant general manager will begin immediately. This is going to be a critical hire for this organization. I expect there to be numerous candidates, and we'll begin that process immediately. The entry draft is coming upon us. We have 5 picks in the first 3 rounds. It's a critical draft for this organization. So we have upcoming scouting meetings. I want to dive in, get to know our staff, get to know their feelings, and prepare for the entry draft, and get to know our people. Ultimately, I love the work, and I love to work with people that also love the work and are inspired and are passionate about the job. So I'm sure you've got a lot more interesting things for me to say. So I'll close by saying we're excited as a family to be here. I'm excited to be a Calgary Flame and ready to go to work.